All right. Good morning. Good morning. Football, football, football. And Ole Miss, they have a loaded team. They have the best coaching staff they've ever had, and they have an unbelievable schedule. You mix that up, and we'll see what happens. And it all lined up on a year where the college football playoff expanded. So we have 12 teams. So Ole Miss could host a game. I don't know. I mean, maybe they play so well that they get a bye. You're going to have to be. It's four teams. We'll see what Ohio State does. Well, Georgia could lose. I still think they're in. They could lose a couple times, though. I don't think they two at Bama, at Texas, at Ole Miss, but they're still yapping about this is the best offensive line they've ever had. So, boy, you're going to have to really come and get them to bounce them twice. Bama's going to be really, really good. Texas should win a bunch of games. They're kind of in the same boat as Ole Miss. They have a very favorable schedule, and of course, they've got a hell of a roster. They're buying Lamborghinis and giving kids pieces of energy companies. After that, though, maybe LSU. Y'all know who my top three is, though. It's Georgia, Bama, Ohio State. And after that, you've got the Texas, Ole Miss, maybe LSU, maybe Tennessee. I don't think Tennessee can do it, but their schedule's favorable too. They've got a good team, a good squad, but I don't know if they've got that good a squad. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, brought to you by Kessler Prime and the Renaissance. Visit KesslerPrime.com to make a reservation. Steaks, bourbon, vino, private dining rooms. And also, we want to let you know that Wilderness Trail Bourbon is the official bourbon of the Out of Bounds Show. And the Wilderness Trail Rye scored 97 points. It's delicious. And, Philip M's has it. Mom and M. Oh, I saw a bottle at Local 463. How about that? I sat in the bar yesterday, and I was waiting on Todd Sandridge from Superior Foundation, and I'm always looking, and Local has Wilderness Trail weeded. Smart people. I'm finding it left and right, and that's a good thing. Wilderness Trail Bourbon, boom. The Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. We were at that distillery a couple of weeks ago. It's awesome. And they're expanding it already. It's brand new, and they were doing an expansion while I was there. Their gift shop's amazing. In fact, they were pouring the was it the 6-year-old rye in the gift? That's how they roll in Kentucky. Isn't that funny? You go in there and they only sell it there, so you can't get it here. I mean, you can get rye here, but not that one. And so these two sweet ladies were just pouring, and we had already been in the tasting room and had a bunch of unbelievable juice. And their tasting room's like the ultimate cigar room. I mean, it's really, really nice. Really nice. But that day they were just pouring Wilderness Trail 6-year-old rye. It was delicious. And I probably should have bought a bottle, but I didn't want to check my bag. Did I tell you all this? I tried to sneak a pint through the airport.
How'd that go?
I got TSA. I got pre-check, and they still got me.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. It was glass, obviously.
Huh?
It had been glass.
No, it was in a pint bottle, but it was in a plastic pint bottle.
Oh.
So Jamie Ferris
Dang.
with Lincoln Road was kind enough to give me what they gave us of the barrel that he picked from Wilderness Trail.
Oh no.
He said, "Here, dude, you take it home." And I made the mistake. I didn't check. I don't like checking my bag if I don't have to, okay?
Yeah.
And so I just had a carry-on. Well, I'm TSA. I'm in the Lexington Kentucky airport, and it's like it's a pint bottle. It's not that big.
Yeah.
Well, they get flagged. The guy over there thinks he's in the CIA, thinks he's some kind of whatever.
Yeah. Power trip.
ops dude, and he goes, "Is this your bag? Whose bag is this?" I'm like, "It's mine." And he starts roaming through all my stuff, and he picks it. He goes, "Hey, look, you've either got to get somebody to come pick this up, or you got to check your bag."
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I didn't do it.
They trashed it. You had to.
Yeah. And you know what else I'd done? So I mean, I'll get a bunch of bottles I'll buy it, but I'll get a bunch of bottles when Jamie gets it in October, right? He's going to get the Wilderness Trail weeded private barrel that we picked out. And then Nathan McCarty with Briarwood Wine and Spirits is getting the Russell's Reserve private barrel that we picked out a little bit later that day. Well, on the way there, I wasn't thinking, was it on the way there? Yeah. Because Jackson International Airport's the only place you can have TSA, and you have to wait longer. You have to wait. They let the people who don't have TSA go through, because you give frontline workers any kind of power trip, and it's like COVID. And so I'm sitting there and I'm checking in, right? And they flag me, or did they flag me? Yeah, it had to be Jackson Air on the way. I had a cigar lighter in there. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, I'd gotten it at the Zeno Davidoff event up in Oxford at Grit out in Taylor Grocery a few weeks ago. And so I didn't even think about it because I can't remember what all I have in my backpack.
No.
And he was like, "Do you have any, what do they ask you? Explosives or something? Liquids?
Yeah.
Not I don't remember. Liquid or something.
Liquids, perishables.
Something." And I went, "No." And I'm thinking, maybe I have a bottle of water in there.
Yeah.
And I'm getting flagged for, a while. Who knows? They may bring in the SWAT team for my Fiji water. Okay. And so I'm thinking, I left a bottle of water in there because I'm all, the drill. I'm at Pearl River. I'm
boom,
always,
boom, boom.
or coconut water because I pack a lot of it in my backpack. And
they hemmed you up like that.
Yeah, he took my lighter.
Get out of town.
I'm serious. It was a heart attack. I got rung up twice on the way in, on the way back.
Oh, with the pre-check.
With the pre-check.
Somebody had it out for you that day.
I know.
That ain't right.
So I lost my pint of Wilderness Trail weeded private barrel. Yeah.
Should have mailed her.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah. We were talking the other day.
I mean, these people are ridiculous, the way they frisk people and all this kind of nonsense.
What was it like pre-9/11? Like, what was it like?
Well,
obviously I know it's way different, but like
you didn't do any of that.
No,
you just walked in.
You just
walked in an airport.
There's no way.
Yes.
It did no.
Yeah.
And like just huddled up at the gate type deal, or
no, you just walked in. People smoked on planes in the A. I remember as a kid, people were smoking darts.
That's crazy.
And partying on a plane.
Is it really that crazy though? Is it that bad? I'm not sure. It's the worst.
It's ridiculous. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go on I just had to tell you, I lost a pint of bourbon and a lighter. But I had a great time in Lexington, Kentucky. My goodness, did we have fun. It's my favorite SEC town. We are the Out of Bounds Show. We're brought to you by an ice-cold Stella Artois. That sounds good. A little bit later today. Good morning. Welcome in. Oh, we've got a guest, too. And I got to go over the coaches poll. Oklahoma at 16. They may not even make a bowl game. Yeah, I can't believe they took my Wilderness Trail bourbon in the Lexington, Kentucky airport. I mean, come on. I did buy some airplane bottles. Those got through. I guess those were under the deal, but I got a couple of sets. They sold them in 3 at Wilderness Trail, so I bought 2 of those. Those made it through in the backpack. That was a win. But, to that airport agent, I'm going to have plenty of it when it gets to Jamie Ferris's wine and spirits store in Hattiesburg in October. So I'm still going to win. Wendy, I told Wendy about it. She went, I can't believe. She shook her head. She went, I cannot believe you didn't get arrested.
What she's meaning, trying to grab it back,
Or just saying something that I shouldn't have said.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Because I almost,
Yeah.
when he was going through all of his options, Mr. Serious Cop,
Yeah.
I almost, I so bad wanted to F-bomb him.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Probably would have been.
It probably wouldn't have gone over well.
No.
Well,
it depends. But no.
it depends. Golly. The Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, brought to you by Martin's in Livingston. How about lunch today? Martin's in Livingston. Cold beers. Well, maybe not for lunch, but blue plates. Why not? Sandwiches, po' boys, Martin's Market, fresh milk, Mississippi beef. They've got all kinds of good stuff going on out at Martin's for lunch today and dinner. When I was at the Exuma Airport, Jackson, over Christmas last year, they didn't give a what you had. The place looked like a shack.
They're just glad you're there.
It looked like a blue shack in the Delta that was falling apart. They cut the wall out. That's where you got your luggage.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I think there were some goats and stuff outside. It was, they're not worried about
Is that
transporting
luggage?
anything, this, that, or the other. But I could, and it wasn't even a full pint of Wilderness Trail bourbon. It was like
So you could have slugged it.
well, I thought about being a smart ass and saying, well, why don't we drink it?
Yeah, I mean,
Right here, hot
slug
shot.
it. Yeah, I mean, just
But
ugh. That defeats the purpose of having it in the first place.
yeah. Well, it's not.
Chuggable.
Yeah, I mean, I know that you chug your crappy margaritas,
Absolutely.
but this isn't chuggable.
No.
It's good premium bourbon,
Yeah, you don't want to waste it.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to go for, I don't know what it's going to go for, $80. I mean, they could get way more than that, but I don't know, $80 a bottle.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I probably would have taken a good couple slugs out of it.
I don't know if he would have. I
Oh, no,
thought about it.
They don't have a choice.
Oh, really?
But if you're on that side,
Yeah.
you can do whatever you want.
Maybe I should
I've
have
seen
taken a swig. I'll be honest. I was hurting. We had gone. We had a large time.
Oh, yeah, it's on your way back.
It was on our way back, and I got to the Atlanta airport. I'm talking about my Lexington, Kentucky trip. One of the days we were there, we started to mid-afternoon. We started to drink Tito's espresso martinis.
Oh, so you went espresso?
Yeah, and then we got into something I don't even know because these guys are in the industry and they're
Manage that.
huh
How did you manage that?
Tito's espresso martinis.
Yeah. I mean, is that your?
The bartender, she was talking. We were at this real swanky Italian place about 2:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
It was about 72 degrees in Kentucky. It felt great.
Yeah.
The doors were open. There was really pretty people everywhere. And she was like, da 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 da. And then all of a sudden, Lance takes over, which is a disaster when Lance takes over. And all of a sudden, I turned back around and she's pouring 3 Tito's espresso martinis. And then we got another round. If I don't drink martinis mid-afternoon, and I
Oh.
damn sure don't drink 2. Then we took a shot of something, and I don't even know what it was. And then that went on, and then it's
y'all
just
doing?
one thing. I don't know.
What's going on?
I don't know. But anyway, so by the time I get back on the plane, get back flying into Atlanta, I didn't feel real well.
I imagine.
We flew back on a Friday in the Atlanta airport. Kevin and I found this real cool spot to post up during our little layover and have lunch, which I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to have. And I ordered an Aperol Spritz and a Pellegrino, and just barely got both of those down.
I was about to ask how that happened.
I think I ordered a turkey sandwich plain or something, and just kind of
turkey and bread.
Just kind of poked at it for an hour.
Gotta get something on there, man. Something's got to get on that stomach.
I know. But anyway, that's my story. So let's get into, we're going to have Tyler McComas on, 1400 AM, out in Oklahoma, Boomer Sooner territory. Oklahoma's playing Ole Miss. You know that this year. And he's in Norman, Oklahoma. Is it fair to say it's a suburb of Oklahoma City?
It is.
Yeah. And he's got a show called The Rush, and it's on the Ref, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And he'll join us coming up next. I think Oklahoma's in for a tough year. I don't think they're that good. And then they're pulling an SEC schedule.
First time ever.
And it's just not going to work out. They're a program that's going to take a massive hit for the rest of their life, or their program. And that doesn't mean that they can't be, good at some point, right? But the Bob Stoops 1999 to Lincoln Riley 20 whatever that was 22 21 when they before he went to Southern Cal. Now last year they went 10-2. They had a great year. Venables and Levy. Levy had that offense going with Dylan Gabriel. They were high flying. They were good in the Big 12 and all that. But I think they're going to take a major step back. The coaches poll had them at number 16, which I thought was funny. I just, I'm not buying it. And do they have good players? Sure. But this is a totally different ball game, because I'm not sure Texas,
no,
even though they drew a better schedule and they have more talent, I think slightly. I'm not sure Texas is going to do everything that we think they're going to do.
They're going to fall.
They're
going to fall flat. I'm talking about no playoff flat.
Oklahoma is 16th. Ole Miss is 6th. Is that too high or too low? Ole Miss is number 6. It's Georgia. I mean, this is the coaches poll. Yeah, they don't know what's going on.
They have no idea.
And then, or a media relations guys, voting on it, which is fine. But, whatever. Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon. That's too high for Oregon. Texas at 4, Bama at 5. That's too low for Bama. Ole Miss at 6. Seems about right. They may have a shot to move up. Notre Dame at 7. What? Who? Michigan at 8. Nonsense. Penn State's not any good and hadn't been in 25 years. Florida State's at 10. Missouri's at 11. Missouri's going to get boat raced with that schedule.
Yeah.
This is not going to play out this way. We're going to have Tyler McComas on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line straight out of Norman, Oklahoma. Good morning. Welcome in. I like this song. I do. Good morning. Welcome in. We are the Out of Bounds Show. We're driven by your next Ford F-150 truck, Ford Expedition, Ford Explorer, Mack Hike Ford, I-55 North in Jackson. We are ESPN 105.9 The Zone. And we've been talking a little bit of Oklahoma football. Ole Miss pulls Oklahoma. They'll be the favorite in that game in Oxford this year. So as we add the two new teams, we've talked about it. We were out in Dallas for SEC Media Days. That was fun. Oklahoma, Boomer Sooner Media, Texas Longhorns Media. Mississippi State will go to Austin. That's not going to be an awesome draw. And then we'll go from there. And then we got the Jeff Lebby tie. Lebby was at Oklahoma he signed with Oklahoma. So he went to school there. And then he went back to his alma mater as offensive coordinator under Venables for 2 years. They had a really good year this past year. Now he's the head coach at Mississippi State. So we thought we'd bring on Tyler McComas, 1400 The Rush on the Ref in Norman, Oklahoma. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Tyler McComas, good morning. How you doing, buddy?
Fantastic. Good to be with you.
All right. Are you ready for this SEC thing and all that?
I can't accurately describe to you how ready I am and the rest of us are. And in fact, I get that question a lot, as you would imagine. So I've been thinking all offseason, like, okay, well, what's the right way to describe just how ready I am and how ready this fan base is? And here's the best I can do for you. Put yourself in the shoes of an ordinary college football fan who buys season tickets. And those aren't cheap, right? Those are expensive. Yeah. What would you rather pay for? Would you rather pay for the last 2 years as an Oklahoma fan or the next 2 years? You've been paying for West Virginia, TCU, Kansas, Baylor, Oklahoma State, and with the majority of those games being at 11 a.m. Or would you rather pay for Tennessee, South Carolina, Alabama this year, and then Ole Miss, Auburn, LSU, Missouri, and even Michigan the next year at primetime kickoffs? It's such a change. I can't really accurately describe just how big of a deal it is. It's bigger games. It's more exciting games at better kickoff times. It's incredible, man. Like this needed to happen for a lot of reasons, and everyone around here recognizes the challenge, sure, but getting to go to Oxford this year is going to be awesome. Getting to go to Death Valley this year is going to be awesome. Auburn's going to be amazing. You combine that with all the great home games that you have. This is the most excited I've felt, and this fan base has felt going into a season in a very, very, very long time.
Tyler McComas, he is the host of The Rush, Norman, Oklahoma, and Boomer Sooner is now in the SEC. Their first SEC game will be in Norman, and it'll be against the Tennessee Vols, which if you're watching the show right now on YouTube, you can see that for some reason I've got a Tennessee Vols helmet up on the set today. So that's kind of cool. I've got to get an Oklahoma helmet and a Texas helmet, Jackson, to get. I've got a couple of weeks here, but we got to get this thing done. All right, Tyler, is there? I mean, y'all pull a brutal schedule. I see. You know, I think you could go 7-5, but there's going to be several losses. Give me the level of optimism within the Oklahoma fan base with the schedule that you pull this year.
There's more optimism than you probably think, because what you're going to be carrying into that schedule is the best defense that you've had in easily over a decade. Now, I know the bar for defense at Oklahoma here recently hasn't been that high, but it's been a little over 3 years since the SEC move was first announced. And if you would have asked any of us 3 years ago, like, hey, you're going to have 2 first-team all-SEC players preseason when you first go into the league, what position do you think those 2 players will be at? I definitely would have said, well, whoever's the quarterback, and then throw in the best wide receiver because that's what this program has been for a while now, and that's what it was under Lincoln Riley. But the transition with Brent Venables in this defense has taken place. You had 2 first-team All-SEC players, and it was a linebacker and it was a safety. This is a defensive-led program, and I think that there's optimism that this can be one of the best defenses in the SEC this year, not just because of those 2 players, but because of your starting 11 and the depth that you've really acquired on that side of the football, including Dominic Williams, who was by far and away your biggest offseason portal addition, and about half of the SEC really wanted him as well. So, yeah, the schedule is difficult. I think the counterpoint to that is what Oklahoma has been facing the past several years in the Big 12. You know, when you're playing Kansas at 11 a.m. and you're playing Iowa State and you're playing West Virginia and you're playing Baylor, it just kind of felt like this program was, I don't know, asleep at the wheel, but those aren't peer programs that you get excited to play on a week-to-week basis. And the thought around here is, you know, maybe they don't go 10-2 this year. But in the long run, this is what's best for the program because it's kind of a kick in the ass that you needed, you know? Like, you got your toughest schedule in a long, long time, and whatever the best version of Oklahoma football is, whatever that looks like, and I don't mean that in terms of conference championships or wins, but this is going to force you to elevate to a new level. So I think the hope and the expectation here is that you bring it on more of a week-to-week basis than maybe you've had previously because of the competition. The expectation here is to make the 12-team playoff, bar none. And with the tough schedule that you have, maybe 9-3 gets you in. Joel Klatt said yesterday that he thinks that would get OU in and that should get OU in. But the expectations don't change around here even with the tough schedule. It's 12-team playoff or it's going to be a disappointing year in year 1.
Wow. Okay. I see, 7-5. All right. So I guess this is going to come down. Your defense will have to be phenomenal. And then Jackson Arnold, he'll have to be great for y'all to navigate. I think to get to 8, much less 9. I don't think 9 gets you in, but that would be a hell of a season with the schedule you have. What's the buzz around Seth Luttrell, your new OC, who took Jeff Levy's place, who got promoted from within, and what's the buzz around Jackson Arnold, your new QB, as Dillon Gabriel goes to Oregon?
Well, Seth Luttrell, a lot has been made about, Oklahoma's got to replace both an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator, and that's true. But at the same time, there's about as much continuity with that change as you could possibly ask for, because Seth Luttrell was on the staff last year and was heavily involved in that. The offense won't look the exact same as Jeff Levy's offense, but it'll look pretty similar. There's going to be a lot of things that are very similar to what it was last year. So the continuity that you have, it's not a totally new system. It's not totally new verbiage. It's pretty similar. So there's excitement there, and he was a fullback on the team that won the 2000 national championship. Everyone has familiarity with him, so there's excitement. With Jackson Arnold, there's a ton of excitement there. He's a former 5-star quarterback, and yeah, he had some rough moments early on in the Alamo Bowl behind kind of a patchwork offensive line, but he also had some really good moments in that Alamo Bowl. And if they don't have a wide receiver that fumbles a couple of times by the goal line, OU wins that game by double digits. So there's confidence in Jackson Arnold because the ceiling is extremely high. He's got the arm strength that Dillon Gabriel just doesn't have. He has the athleticism that Dillon Gabriel just didn't have. And not to say that Dillon Gabriel didn't do a great job last year. He did. He was first team all Big 12. But this offense really wants to attack down the field. It wants to go vertical. It really wants to put pressure on the defense. And I think Jackson Arnold can do that at his best at a higher level than Dillon Gabriel can. His decision-making's got to get better, and that's been a big focal point for him this offseason. But the way that he's going to be able to run the football, the way that he's going to be able to push it downfield, you expect some very high-level plays for him, but will there be some mistakes in year 1? Absolutely there will be, yes. And that's why it all comes down to the offensive line. It's the biggest question mark on this team. It's not a question mark that you want to have in this league, but can they give him enough time? Can they create a situation for him that I don't know, is one where he can succeed as a first-year starting quarterback. If they can, they're going to be fine on offense because that wide receiver core that they have is really, really, really good and one of the better ones that you're going to find in the league. It all comes down to offensive line. It all comes down to quarterback. Those are my two biggest question marks. And if they can figure out those two things, I think this team will be just fine.
Okay. Tyler McComas, Sports Talk Radio, Norman, Oklahoma. His show is The Rush on the Ref, and he joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Oklahoma's first year in the SEC. So, Tyler, I got a feeling I'm a good bit older than you. I grew up as a kid when Barry Switzer was running college football. We've actually had him on the show. You probably have him on the show all the time, but it was cool. Marcus Dupree got him on the show for us a couple of years ago. And so when I was growing up, it was that Brian Bosworth era, Jamel Holloway. And Switzer, I think, won 3 national championships between like 74 and 87 or something. How old are you? 30?
I am 30. I'm 34 years old.
Yeah. So So that Oklahoma was when my first team that I remember as a powerhouse as a kid is Oklahoma. And then they fell off in the 90s, and then Stoops did an absolutely amazing job for y'all. Did you grow up in Norman or Oklahoma City or somewhere in Oklahoma?
I'm the kid that always had the preseason college football magazine in the back seat. Yeah, I grew up there, season tickets, so I've grown up around it my entire life.
Did you go to Oklahoma?
I did go to Oklahoma, yes.
That's awesome. Did some people in your family go to OU?
No, actually, no, they didn't. So it was just kind of one of those things where, hey, man, like, and I'm sure the state of Mississippi can kind of relate to this. This is the team. This is the pro team. Like, some people root here for the Dallas Cowboys, but the NFL is not. It's in an NFL market. It's a college football market. So
sure.
Regardless if you went there or not, like this is who you root for.
Describe what kind of royalty Barry Switzer is in that town and area.
So 2 weeks ago, there was an OU football coaches luncheon that they have every single year, and there's a bunch of silent auction items that were there. Or live auction, I should say. One of the live auction items is, hey, here's an awesome beach house in Florida for 5-6 days. You get airfare along with it. Hey, here's this deal where you get 50-yard line seats to an SEC game this year. I mean, you know, like crazy live auction items. The live auction item that went for the most money still today was dinner with Barry Switzer at a local Italian restaurant.
Unbelievable.
The level of royalty, and look, Bob Stoops is beloved here. I mean, I just don't know if anyone can ever surpass that of Barry Switzer because he won 3 national championships, 74, 75, and 85. But the storyteller that he is, the personality that he has, the way that he makes the normal everyday OU fan feel still today, they call him the King for a reason here. That's his nickname, the King. And that's exactly what he is. I mean, he's the man around here, and everything stops. If Coach Switzer is somewhere, kind of the world stops in Norman, Oklahoma. Oh, my God, that's Barry Switzer. Still today, he's around, which is awesome, but I don't know if anyone will ever surpass the popularity of Barry Switzer.
Yeah, so he reminds me of a guy that sucks all the oxygen out of the room. That's not bad. He was so successful, and then he's so charismatic and has such a big personality. Do Switzer and Stoops, are they buddies? Was there too much? You know, Switzer was the legendary coach with 3. Stoops only had 1, but was still a great coach. How does it work, their relationship, Tyler?
Very, very close friends.
Good.
I think, and I think at times you see a coach come in and, hey, there was a legend before you, and the legend's still around, and I'm going to do things my way, and I'm going to surpass the legend that's here. That was never the case with Bob when he got here December of 1998. He really embraced kind of the past tradition that Oklahoma has, embraced Barry Switzer. And look, it's a college town around here. I mean, it's in a metropolitan area close to Oklahoma City, but if something happens in Norman, Oklahoma, I mean, you're going to hear about it. And I have never once heard any sort of a rift between Barry Switzer and Bob Stoops. The ultimate respect between those two guys.
Okay. All right. And Stoops, I know Switzer's always roaming around town. Do you see Stoops a good bit?
Stoops still has a house in Norman. He comes on our show every single Tuesday, so we talked to him yesterday. He's a member of one of the local golf courses in Norman, so he's around quite a bit. And his son Drake just played his last year at OU last year, first team All Big 12, by the way, now with the Rams. So he was at just about every single home game, just about every single road game. So Bob and Switzer are around Norman quite a bit.
That's cool. How do you think so Jeff Lebby signed with Oklahoma probably right around the time no, he's 39. But you remember it. So he signed with Oklahoma as a quarterback out of Texas. He got injured. He stayed on, got into the coaching business, comes back to his alma mater, your alma mater, OC for 2 years. How do you think Lebby did as offensive coordinator at Oklahoma?
Well, the nickname that he had with OU fans was Jet Lebby because he ran the jet sweep quite a bit. There were high moments and there were low moments. Now, I don't think that he was super popular with this fan base. At the same time, the OU offensive coordinator spot for my entire life has been highly criticized. Kevin Wilson went on to do great things after he left Oklahoma. People couldn't stand him towards the end. Josh Heupel ended up getting fired as the OC. People were tired of him. Look what he's doing now at Tennessee. So that doesn't, like, the opinion of this fan base doesn't have to be necessarily what's going to happen in the future, but I think the frustration with Jeff Lebby is, okay, well, it's nice to go up tempo. It's nice to go fast. But that's all they could do at times. They couldn't really slow things down, run some play clock, and kind of work the clock a little bit. So the defense was the better side of the ball last year, and the feeling was that Jeff Lebby and that offense put the defense in really tough spots, time and time again, because they'd have a series that's 3 and outs, and it lasts about 12 seconds, and your defense is right on the field. Mm-hmm. And not to say that he didn't do some good things here. He did. He did some good things, called a great game against Texas last year. But I think the frustration was, all right, the hurry up was nice, but we'd like to use it as like kind of a tempo change, not the only thing that this offense can do. I don't think people hate him or anything, and I'm sure people will still root for him at Mississippi State, but was anyone really sad to see him go last year? I don't think I'd say that.
Okay. Yeah, that game. So his biggest game, I guess, was the game last year against Texas when y'all won.
Yeah, they had a great last-second drive, no timeouts left, went all the way down the field with Dylan Gabriel and scored. So just him individually, the play calling that was there. I mean, that's the best win of the Brent Venables era, and it's not even close. So,
right.
Yeah, I'd have to say for everyone involved, that was their best win.
We're visiting with Tyler McComas, Oklahoma insider, Sports Talk Radio in Norman, The Rush on the Rep. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Oklahoma will play in Oxford on October 26th. Are you sold on Venables, or is there still more wait and see for you?
I am sold on Venables, and here's why. You have an understanding of what Oklahoma has been not only the past 25 years, but 35 years and beyond. Oklahoma has never won a national championship, and they've won 7. They've never won a national championship without an elite defense. 50, 55, 56, 74, 75, 85, and 2000. If you watch any of those national championship teams that Oklahoma's had, or teams that really were in the national championship game, made a push to win a title, they all had an elite defense. Well, with Lincoln Riley, you were winning Big 12 titles and you were making playoff games, and then you get embarrassed on a national stage because your defense was so bad. Like, the blueprint to win a championship at Oklahoma has been, yes, you have to be very capable on offense, but you got to have a defense that can really hang in there when it comes to playing your biggest games of the year. And they just were never going to have that blueprint under Lincoln Riley. With Brent Venables, I think they've worked they're not there yet, but they've worked their way on the defensive side to where I think the blueprint of what it's looked like around here to win a championship is what that blueprint is like they're trying to bring that back a little bit. The defense is getting better and better year after year. I think it will only continue to get better as we move forward. They got to get better on the offensive line.
Yeah.
See what Jackson Arnold looks like a year from now. But my answer to that is yes, because they're bringing in the defensive talent that they haven't gotten in a decade. They're recruiting. Like Lincoln Riley left to go to USC, and he says, well, USC is the Mecca, and you can just recruit better out there. He hasn't had a higher-ranked recruiting class at USC than Brent Venables has had at Oklahoma. Brent is getting 5-star defensive tackles. He's getting 5-star safeties. He's getting the 5-star defensive players that you need to win a championship. So, yeah, year one was a hiccup for sure. Year two was a lot better. We'll see what this year is. It's a big year, but they at least have the right blueprint, I think, to what it's taken for OU to win a championship and for other SEC teams to win a championship as well. This is no longer an offensive-led program. It's a defensive-led program right now, and I think that that's a major shift and a shift that needed to happen here.
All right, let's go through the schedule real quick. Temple, Houston, Tulane. You got 3-0?
Easily. Should be easily, yes.
Okay, me too. Tennessee and Norman.
There's a lot of confidence here for that game. I've heard a lot of confidence from the Tennessee side. Tennessee, good defensive line, and OU's offensive line, again, like I said, that's the big question mark. But I think Tennessee is going to be very gettable in the back end of their defense. That's Nico's first big road start that he's had. I think Oklahoma is going to win that game because of it being at home.
Yeah, I'll give y'all a dub because it's at home. At Auburn, I've got a loss. How do you see it?
Well, look, I mean, I've sat here this entire time, and I've told you how much better I think their defense is going to be. And they should be better this year on offense. But if I'm going to sit here and say how much better this defense is, defensive-led program and all that, well, that needs to show up in a road game like Auburn. Yeah, that'll be one of the more difficult environments that OU's played in, but that should be, if I'm right about this defense, that should be a defense that goes out to Auburn and really makes it tough on them. So I think that that'll be an extremely close game, but I think this team should go out and win at Auburn.
Okay. Let's go. I've only got a minute. I waited too long. I tell you, let's bring him back on. Let's bring him back on to finish.
I'll give you 9-3. 9-3 is my final prediction.
Okay, 9-3. I'm going to go 7-5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But you got to go to Columbia and win and beat Missouri. We'll bet a steak on it. What's the best steakhouse in Norman, Oklahoma, Tyler?
Ooh, the Ranch is really good.
Okay.
Right off I-35, so I'd probably say that.
Hey, man, thanks so much. We want to do this again. We appreciate it, Tyler.
You bet. Anytime.
Tyler McComas, 1400 AM in Norman, Oklahoma. The Rush on the Ref. He joined us on the Farm Bureau Insurance Guest Line. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 1059 The Zone.